In case you're wondering, yes, Rider of Rohan does have a warband, and yes, it is themed around riders, or sorry, Illyrian Reaver Archers. Yes, indeed, he is the Reaver Archer. What's his name? Yes, Northoriel, Champion of Illyrian. Where is he? Yes, the princess, rather, up on Star Dragon is Rider of Rohan's Lord for the Warband. He's also got here a life caster, if I can grab her name real quick. I don't know if he specified, actually. But, yes, I mean, very clearly going for a theme here. You can see all these Illyrian Reaver Archers. And, yeah, we've got loads and loads of Illyrian Reaver Archers. That's basically most of the Warband at this point. He is late game against Borgash's Pinky and the Brain Lab Rats. Got a bunch of Rat Ogres here. Help and Abomination been added in the late game here. More Rat Ogres, a Doom Wheel, just an absolute mass. We've got a Packmaster, more Rat Ogres, feud weapons teams, still the Poison Wind Globes, Warp Fire Throwers. We've got some Jezzails as well, Warp Grinders. Yeah, massive, massive build. Of course, the Dragon, Arcane Phoenix as well, going to be acting as terror pieces for the Skaven. Looking at some Dragon Princes, some Lion Chariots as well, Mage of Life, a few Foot Archers, and Spearmen as well. But primarily all cavalry. That Warp Lightning Cannon going to open up immediately on those Dragon Princes and just begin to feast. As Arcane Phoenix dies in to disrupt some weapons teams, we're going to get POV of these Rattling Guns as they take aim and begin to open up. And just the scale of these Warband battles definitely makes them very much enjoyable. Absolutely a good time. Let's see here. Right now, the Elves doing a great job of capitalizing on their massive Vanguard force, just wrapping up a number of units. Granted, it's quite a bit of cheap value, but still, you got to get through that chaff. At some point, Brain's going to kind of pull up on this side of this formation here, along with Pinky, ready to countercharge with his Rat Ogres. We're going to see the suppression debuff from the Rattling Guns there, slowing the Reaver Archers. Looks like, yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff going on, so not surprised there might be some momentary lapses in micro, but the Rat Ogres do manage to catch at least this one unit of Reaver Archers. More Rat Ogres charging in here. They're going to contact the Dragon Princess here, try and get on these Lion Chariots, multiple units fighting in this blob. Pinky could get here. This would be an ideal place for him, but right now, Brain just chilling there. Oh, no, Pinky did get in here. That's right. Nice. So getting some good regeneration on these Rat Ogres. Let's see if it'll help them at least hold in this combat. At the very least, they're trading very even. Well, those were just Silver Helms, even still. Pretty decent trade. Doing some nice damage to the Lion Chariots as well. But right now, Skaven's weapons team's able to hang back, just feast on some value for the most part. Doom Wheel kind of chasing some Reaver Archers, blasting it with its shooting attack. But the concentrated bow shooting of the Wood Elves, or the High Elves, rather. Northoriel dropping some hot arrows all over Brain's weapons teams. The Reaver Archers also utilizing their excellent melee stats, charging in to these weapons teams, bogging them down. We're going to see just such a bog down with Howling Warp Gale locking Northoriel in place as she fights. A little bit of yeah, nice detonation there with that Storm Vermin Halberd on the Dreaded 13th. Going to get in on the Silver Helms, keep riding that anti-large, but yeah, High Elves definitely pressuring at this point in the back line. Looks like they're going to shut down Warp Lightning Cannon most likely here, but there are still quite a few weapons teams. Still some Rattling Guns in reserve here. A lot of firepower left for the Skaven, and the Hell Pit Abomination as well. Still quite healthy, and going to be tough for High Elves to get through. Yeah, you can see here, a great get for the Lab Rats. Some Skaven Slave Spears able to get the back line, start to shut down those Archers, and this right here, these Poison Wind Globes. In these large funds battles, they just have so many more targets to shoot at, and especially when units get blobbed up, which they often do, they can just devastate them with multiple volleys of bombs there. That one, not the best contact, but still will deal damage over time. And the Hell Pit moves in against the Star Dragon, along with the shooting from the Skaven, the Rat Ogres also. It's not a favorable situation at all for Northoriel as she fights against the mighty Hell Pit. I don't know. I think the Hell Pit actually has a name. I forgot to check. Maybe I'll check after the fact. But Storm Vermin are going to drop just before they do get to that pocket. You see a Death Frenzy upgraded as well. Unfortunately, it looks like the dragon's able to pull away while that's active. Other units are distracted in various ways, so yeah, looking tough there. But still, we got Dragon Princes alive. We still got plenty of Reaver Archers alive as well. Getting ready to form up. Nice cohesive push. Try and shut down this last bastion of strength here. But the Rattling Guns responding. And the Mage of Life here, looking like she's in some trouble. The Hellpit Abominations, I always think they do poison damage for whatever reason, but they actually don't, so she could potentially get away here. But let's see. Looking like Doomwheel pulling through. Yeah, at this point, just trying to get whatever value and disruption it can out of the Doomwheel before it gets landed on by the Dragon. Unfortunately, wasn't able to quite swing the underdodge there. Ends up getting hit by some pretty big attacks. And this is a potentially tough situation for the Skaven. They don't really have the long range to be able to kind of dictate initiative very well at this point. They do have some Jezzails left, which will be able to kind of pull Ryder into engagements as he kind of blinks away at long range. But at the same time, Ryder's riders can just swing out here. He's got the majority of his Lyrian Reaver Archers actually still alive. So try and take advantage of their mobility out in space and clean up these various units here. But let's see what they can do. Definitely anyone's game still at this point. And a lot of those Jezzails starting to run out of ammo. Yeah, the one unit here that's been firing consistently is pretty much out of ammo. There's still some Rattling Guns, still some globes that are going to be quite dangerous, and still quite a bit of chaff as well for the Skaven. But as far as long-range poke goes, they don't actually have much left. Well, I guess, just kidding. Warp Lightning Cannon crew's back online. I didn't actually see them. Yeah, that's a pretty big get. That'll generate some really nice long-range pressure, especially against those cavalry units, as they get good penetration on cavalry models. But, ooh, a devastating volley there of globes as those Dragon Princes land. Yeah, I mean, they're shutting down some Warp Grinders, Skaven Slave Slingers. Not sure it's worth it at the end, as all the combined weapons teams just massacre the Dragon Princes. Yeah, looking like the Cavalry of Ryder are going to continue to try and stay in a position they can support the few infantry they do have left. Dragon, though, is going to be a pretty vulnerable target. Those Warp Lightning Cannons do actually have a direct anti-large bonus, and a devastating Howling Warp Gale goes down. That's going to lock Northoriel in place. Ryder wisely lands there. He's going to actually not take too much damage during the uptime of Howling Warp Gale. Let's see, yeah, on the ground, it doesn't look like the Warp Lightning Cannons are as accurate shooting the dragon, so perhaps that's the way. It's just to go hide it somewhere with late game and try and let these cavalry clean up. Their cavalry have cleaned up quite a bit, but now at the Skaven, they're kind of spread out. There are some angles of attack here, some avenues where the Reaver Archers could get in, shut down these key range units, so that you see them kind of moving now. The back line, you've also got the Arcane Phoenix in the region, in the neighborhood, ready to drop some hot flaming loads all over the place. And yeah, some nasty damage on those Reaver Archers from Rattling Guns. Everything else. Princess gets shot up a few times. Can the Reaver Archers land there before she gets taken out? Looks like the Reaver Archers were not quite able to make it into the Warp Lightning Cannon. Will it be able to get a volley off? It looks like she is routed, gets hit there. About 1200 HP, so not immediately in danger of dying, but a solid volley might just do it. But Reaver Archers say no. They finally get into melee with the Warp Lightning Cannon. Try and save Northoriel. Fortunately, Northoriel still is landed because she routed in landed mode. That's hilarious. So she might actually be in a position where the Skaven could chase her off if they have something over there. But as it is, I do not think they will have the ability to do so. Reaver Archers coming through, though, using their melee prowess to just clean up whatever's left. All of a sudden, Skaven single entities are finding themselves a little bit isolated. Rat Ogres are Rout Ogres for a reason. And they're probably going to rout here, I would imagine, under Terror. Maybe not, actually. Maybe the Hellpit Abomination just wins the Unholy Clamor from the Bell, map-wide leadership and vigor refresh. Yeah, the fact that the Hellpit Abomination is fresh vigor and the Arcane Phoenix is shaken, getting too exhausted. That is huge. A lot of people, one thing they don't realize about the Bell, a super important component of it, is this Unholy Clamor. Of course, yes, it has a miscast chance component. It can damage your Lord. You got to be aware of that. But map-wide Vigor Refresh and Leadership, of course, is always great for the Skaven. In particular, plus 16, which is a pretty strong modifier. But, I mean, it's map-wide, and that Vigor Refresh, if you're hitting this thing as often as you can see here the effect that fresh Skaven are very scary to have to deal with. I mean, some of the High Elf units are relatively fresh as well, depending on what they've been up to this whole time. But it's definitely not over yet. I mean, Elven leadership is what it is, and it's not like the Elves are going to go quietly. A lot of these tattered units will still stick around and try and make whatever difference they can. Authoriel's also still here, facing off against Brain. I don't know what happened to Pinky. Somewhere in there he got clobbered, but I'm sure he's fine. We got Pinky too here. The giant Helped Abomination. And, oh, that's bad. 2v1, the Arcane Phoenix definitely does not want to be in this neighborhood. Although both these units kind of have a little bit janky attack animations. Yeah, it doesn't look like Helped's actually going to be attacking the Arcane Phoenix, which is maybe a little bit of a mistake here, but let's see. Warp Lightning Cannons, not able to apply long-range pressure anymore, so Rider Rohan can kind of patiently do what he needs to. He used his last breath attack there. I honestly didn't even catch where he used his first two breath attacks. That's how wild these games are. Let's keep it nice and wide, as Authoriel at least has a bow to be able to plink away at this situation, get some value here, but those globes, man, at this late stage, just all these tattered units, as soon as they get close, they're going to get bounced by globes. So really, Ryder's got to form up his entire army to make a push on them, make sure he can get them down. Otherwise, going in piecemeal is not going to do him any favors. So let's fast forward a little bit as the weapons teams. Gotta love the Giselles going into melee. Not a lot else to do with them at this point, I guess. Globes actually do get shut down there, and suddenly it's just the Skaven single entities against the world. Hellpit gets separated from Brain, and then the Phoenix comes to hunt him down. Pinky 2 rushing in from the back, trying to get a rear charge here. Fortunately for Authoriel, there's nowhere to be found on this engagement. Did get some healing from the Life Mage. But, yeah, this is going to be for all of it. Ooh, Brain gets routed here, and yeah, if he's off for good, that's going to be huge. Hellpit doesn't have the best leadership, even though it definitely has a healing cap to be able to grind through a lot of this. It's also just getting horrible RNG against the Arcane Phoenix. Now, granted, Hellpit Abomination doesn't have great melee attack to begin with, but plus 20 bonus versus large, I would expect it maybe would have gotten a couple of more hits by now on the Phoenix, but instead, Authoriel's Riders looking like they're about to claim the victory here, and a quite narrow one at that. Very nearly went all the way in the other direction, but instead, victory for the High Elves. And a fun one at that. Well played to both players. Quite the massive epic battle, and Riders here doing Illyrian proud, living up to their homeland, and all of them pretty much getting value here. Basically, all of them except for a handful pay for themselves, which is amazing. And they're really the bright spot here. I mean, maybe like one of these Lothern Seaguard does really nice. Yeah, Arcane Phoenix is a very solid addition as well. Even despite how much damage Princess took and was tanking the whole time, she almost got 2,000 damage value herself, which is pretty good. But yeah, the Reavers, man, just mass of Reavers, definitely quite strong. And yeah, not super easy to do. I know some people might actually hate that, but against a decent build, which Borgash here definitely has a very strong horde of Skaven. Yeah, it was quite scary. Both the high-tier units here, the Warp Lightning Cannon, obviously, is definitely the MVP. If you had a second one of those, maybe a couple more Giselles, I do think this probably goes a little bit differently. It needs just a little bit more long-range poke to pressure those Reaver Archers more throughout the battle. But overall, played it very well. I can't really criticize too much. Yeah, 2,000 value on the Warplock Giselles as well. Many of the Rat Ogres traded super cost-effectively. And one globe just gets hard shut down. The other globe actually almost 2,000 damage value. So that's the dichotomy of globes for you. You don't hard shut them down, they'll get 2,000 damage value. Yeah, Pinky unfortunately got absolutely beat up, as did Brain, to be honest. And ultimately, I think that's probably where this battle fell apart for the Skaven, is just that lack of leadership at the end of the day, but nonetheless, very fun one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.